Ladies and gentlemen, our first Game 5 of the LCS Spring 2023 has finally arrived. Both of these teams have been slugging it back and forth against each other for the past 4 hours. And there's history behind for some of these players too. 3 years ago, Doublelift and Bjergsen on TSM went up against Golden Guardians in the lower bracket and eventually clutched it out and took them out, eliminating them from playoffs. This is now a moment for Golden Guardians and huhi, who was still on that roster, to also get retribution and continue further in the playoffs.
Yeah, we came in today with that knowledge. Players have talked about it. And so there is an expectation of, I guess pressure as well.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. We got somebody here.
Yeah, I got news.
Jack.
Oh God, what's the news?
So we were just remembering some things about the last time Doublelift was in playoffs.
Yeah?
And didn't win the series.
Okay.
You know how long it's been?
How long?
So he's been retired, right?
Yeah.
He won 2020 summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't make playoffs in 2020 spring. He won 4 in a row on Team Liquid.
Yeah.
The last time actually Doublelift was in playoffs and didn't win the title was when Stixxay and huhi were on CLG in 2016
callback.
spring. So if he loses
callback.
this game, it will be the first time that Doublelift hasn't won the title after being in playoffs since 2016 spring, when Stixxay, huhi on CLG took him down.
It's crazy how history finds a way to repeat itself, even under different colors and under different team banners.
That's a Jet fact.
That's it, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That was good breaking news. I appreciated that.
Say goodbye to Jet, y'all, as he returns to the lounge. Damn.
It's a lot on the line. Both teams feels like the pressure is there. It's palpable. You see, I know while we were waiting for the players to come out, both Doublelift and Stixxay sat down early just so I would assume to get comfortable. You're going to be going for a Game 5, so you want to be focused.
Yes.
That's going to be the underlining point, which is remain focused. It's a long day. Going through a best of 5, you don't really expect it. So playing 5 games in a day, I mean, they play, that quite a bit of that in scrims, but on game day, it's a different beast. And another one too is just trying to conquer the whole blue side win rate.
True. And the other big thing, we're talking a lot about the experienced players that have been on this side of matchup in their history before. There's new players here too. Tenacity and Busio. This is their first starting split of the LCS. This is their first LCS playoffs. This is a chance for them to prove and go as far as they can, because outside of just expectations for themselves as individuals, we know that there's also been narratives spun by the community about how there's no talent in NA. There's no domestic talent being raised. Tenacity and Busio are prime prospects that were promoted and taken a chance on by the 100 Thieves organization to now be the next generation of stars for this org. This would be the game to really set that in stone.
Yeah, it's been a growing period, especially how Busio has specifically been performing on his Recon, and in the last game on his Blitzcrank, you've been seeing it. Now, just as a reminder, as you can see on the screen, it's a keyboard issue that's been trying to get sorted right now. I'm sure when we get in the game or any updates, we'll let you guys know. One thing I'll take note of immediately is actually the draft. So I mentioned it a little bit, but that was a rough one for Tenacity at top. He blinded the Gragas on 4 just to eventually pick the Zillion anyways on 5. Don't think that makes sense. I think you want to go for a much more safer blind anyways on 4 pick and then allow him to get counter pick. I think we just haven't seen a lot of use of red side counter pick on 4-5 in NA just yet. I think everybody's been sipping the tank juice when it goes to the top lane.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we watch LCK, LPL, and it's still carry top lanes. They still play it. Sure, tanks are great, but I think having that extra angle when you're on red side is really important. So that's the one thing I want to see. That's the big adaptation. Do I expect to see it? Probably not. I think there's a ironed out style for 100 Thieves. Thankfully, they're the one on blue side, but giving the power to Licorice on 5 seems to be the ticket.
Comes down to what the R4 and the R5 picks are for Golden Guardians.
And we're in!
Here we go! Game 5, baby! Y'all wanted it. We got the silver scrapes. We had it blasting here in the arena. And now it's time. 100 Thieves and Golden Guardians both 2-2 apiece. This best of 5 turned into a best of 1. There's only one game left that separates them and advancing on to the playoffs or going home early, Raz.
Seems like they don't want to deal with that, Lucian. taking it away, but leaves the LeBlanc open. That is now open for Gori, for the pickings has been gone for him this series. They just don't want to see him on that pick, and now, if he wants to get it, he can have it.
100 Thieves get that Wukong. That Wukong has been prioritized on blue side almost every single time this series, but Golden Guardians fire back instantly with the Zeri, and now River's starting to hover. A couple champions that could be the answer back. The great adaptation that we've been waiting for, considering that they are on red side this time around.
Yeah, we want to see a different jungle pick. It's going to be the Maokai.
Okay.
I was thinking it might be that hover of the J4 Maokai just better. It's been seeing a resurgence. We saw it in the FlyQuest series. We just need to see something because the monkey has been dominating, quite frankly.
Yes. AoE CC has been far more valuable than single target CC when you're able to lock up multiple members. 100 Thieves immediately fire back with Jinx and Thresh, but now huhi says, Busio, I saw what you're doing with the Blitzcrank. Now it's my turn.
I got that too. So now we got a Blitzcrank being passed over by huhi, so I have always forgotten about that. I forgot about the fact that huhi also has a flexible pool. He is also a mid lane roll swap to bot lane.
Just like Busio.
There it is. So it's nice to see that he's willing to play it, locks it in, recognizes that, hey, if they go for a Thresh pick with Jinx that they've been doing this series, last series, we have an option too. Another Lissandra ban for Golden Guardians. So they're just trying to nail down the picks, and we finally get the Zillion ban. Didn't work out well for 100 Thieves last game, but this time they have blind pick on blue side, and the comp looks great with a Zillion, so just knock that out.
Coaches Spooks and Shoes making sure that 100 Thieves don't have any of those pocket picks whatsoever. They are trying to limit 100 Thieves on any other crazy strategies that has helped them in the past. Now Golden Guardians face a LeBlanc and Veigar ban. Currently hovering this Galio. It worked great for Gori as a blind pick opening up, but it's the Cassante. And I know you mentioned, Raz, before the start of the series, that this could potentially be a flex pick for both Licorice and Gori if he wants to take a little flavor out of M&S's book.
That's true. We've seen it in multiple regions. Just saw it last night. Cassante Flex has just been a demon. Gets you prio through mid lane if you want it, and also gets a counter pick top lane if they get baited into it. So now we see the Sion looking at the bans. Gwen is still available. So if they want, they can get a Gwen matchup into Sion and just feel happy. Get more power into Licorice there. They have a pretty good front to back right now. Or they can go for something more standard. Let's see what Bjergsen ends up locking in. It's the Taliyah that was banned in the last few games.
The first time that Bjergsen would be getting his hands on the pick. And this is a champion that gives him the ability to roam out of mid lane, look for plays to enable side lanes, to enable closer, to snowball through the early mid game and get rest of this team fighting composition rolling. And you called it out, Raz. The flex for Cassante goes to the mid lane for Gori, so they can send Gwen into the top lane for Licorice. And now that is a brutal matchup for Tenacity.
Yes, it is. It has to be the first time that I can remember of Golden Guardians going for a flex pick, happen to the 4-5, and it pays off. So I like it, but now my eyes are on Gori on that Cassante. I haven't seen him play it. So now that he's going up against Taliyah, the main value of the pick, of course, is you can fight for prio, you have good 2v2, and then you can always make that rotation towards bot or top lane, so that's nice. And of course, as I mentioned, the draft. Now my focus is on the top lane as well. So Licorice getting the Gwen. I expect Maokai to be up top lane early, so we don't see, a little cheesy gank from closer or anything like that. So the draft is locked in. I'm a fan of both. The pick potential from Taliyah and Thresh looks damn good too.
I just want to get into this game, Raz. Both teams showing final adaptations. No more do-overs, no more remakes, no more chances for a second game. This is the last game for one of these teams as we now head on to the Rift for the last game of this series between 100 Thieves and Golden Guardians.
Instant sepia.
Not like this. Not like this.
I was getting too excited, man. What the hell? We'll figure this one out. Any updates we'll give to you guys, but man, I am just ready to go in.
So much has been built up. We've now seen the adaptation from Golden Guardians that they're willing to give resources over to Licorice to be winning his lane, to carry through the mid game, and even a viable and strong backup carry in the late game. Something that we haven't really seen being given trust over to Licorice for most of the regular split.
Yeah, because he's been having a bit of a roller coaster performance throughout the split. Sometimes you would have something that works out quite great, or you could be the weak link. You've seen both sides. And that's the X factor for Golden Guardians, is that they feel like they can put the resources into him. They've been performing well in the 2v2. The Lounge mentioned it, we're back in game. They've been working well in the 2v2 bot side. Now huhi gets the pick on the Blitzcrank, so there's a lot that we should look at. I don't have that many eyes, so I'll let the observers do the work.
30 seconds until minions
Doesn't seem like there's any level 1s coming out right from the get-go, but that doesn't mean that neither team can be stopped or will be stopped for going for a delayed or late invade.
Yeah. Something to make a mention of for the Maokai pick, since it's the first in the series, is just the disengage that it does provide. So any kind of engage that we see there from either Sion or Wukong, immediately River has the power to basically say, get the hell out of here. Just like, chill, relax, back away, protection for Zeri. That's always going to be an option. Same can be said with the Thresh Lantern, but also I just think that Golden Guardians has just been pretty good at being able to nail down control wards when the Thresh Lantern gets pushed out, so it's not as useful throughout a fight. We saw that actually earlier in the series. It was a losing fight, but they still got that ward down, so at least it seems like they're focused. Let's see if that remains in this game 5.
Laning phase has commenced here. Closer and Tenacity holding hands briefly on the top side of the map, just getting this leash down. Tenacity will arrive late to lane. That should give information over to Golden Guardians on where Closer has started. And now River, how does he want to react his path? And we saw last game that he put a lot of emphasis into prioritizing Licorice's laning phase and getting him snowballed. I'm not gonna lie, Raz, I'm not sure if you need to do that right from the get-go with a Gwen into a Sion matchup.
This is the perfect game for Doa out there. Supportal combat, just seeing that both huhi and Busio are angling for a pick. They don't want to start on themselves just yet. If they can get level 2, you're obviously seeing fight for that.
It can be so tense. I know talking with Chime before, the matchup on Thresh and Blitzcrank is really dependent on who throws the hook first, because you are channeling that wind-up cast and animation time. And if you can sidestep that and throw out a hook of your own, that's where the advantage comes in.
Yeah, I mean, on that one, level 2 got towards huhi and Stixxay. Good on Busio and Doublelift, just hiding behind the wave. They don't want to deal with that at all, so they had a good angle. Just relax there. But you can see both junglers pathing straight towards bot lane. In fact, Wukong... Oh! Nothing's going to happen there. Oh!
This is what it is. Once you throw out the hook, then you don't have a way to deter the other hook from coming in, so it's just both supports trading back and forth, but Busio is the one that loses more HP on the trade.
A little different, but it still worked out. Wukong is in the area. Busio got chunked out just a little bit. No ward in the tri-bush, but there is a ward in the bush right next to it, so they're going to see Closer. River is a little slower, but I mean, let's just see how this works out.
Closer doesn't have smite, so if he wants to look for a steal, but River doesn't have one either. So he's going to try to get the Gromp reset so that neither Closer nor River can be up a camp. Both are going to end up at level 3, but now he has push for Crab.
Yeah, this is the concern here. Doublelift and Busio are just going to push out the wave completely, and so Busio is going to be able to help out if they wanted to re-invade. But River is just going to just... Oh, yay!
That's a pretty nasty hook. Doublelift chunked down to sub 50% HP. Going to have to chunk this health pot if he wants to stay in this late for the time being. Thankfully for them, whether they don't know it or not, River will be pathing towards the top side of the map since all of his camps are now gone on the bottom side of the map. But that is one nasty chunk that huhi and Stixxay got.
This is the Blitzcrank series, man. It's really dominating it so far that we've seen in both games. See if it continues. Closer is looking at Licorice here.
This will be a great time. Decimating Smash doesn't connect, but Licorice has already dashed away with a skip and slash. He's going to force to use the Ghost. Closer going to go in with the decoy. Gets another Nimbus Strike in, but not enough damage to take down Licorice.
Yeah, no way for Tenacity to help. Oh, God.
Oh, Doublelift is chunked out, but they pull in huhi under tower. Doublelift gets first blood in this game 5.
You missed a little bit of the context of how Doublelift got this low. For Busio to get that pick right under turret 2. Ooh, he's got to be shaking his head on that one.
And it's just so tense in this bot lane. Both of these 2v2s going back and forth. Stixxay knows that he has a little bit of health advantage to get this wave pushed in as much as he can. Dodging out on the hook. But
Yeah.
Doublelift and Busio, the fact that they get to walk away with a kill and first blood gold to the side saves this lane a little bit for them.
Exactly, and it's good that the kill went on towards Doublelift for obvious reasons. Now huhi platting towards the mid lane to see if he can get anything. Just checking on any wards, no wards in the area, but that stinks. That's gonna be instant Berserker Grease and a longsword there for Doublelift. So great job early there from Busio and Doublelift to actually fight back against what's happening there from huhi and Stixxay.
It's not ideal for huhi, but he does take this time to roam, gets a control ward in the heart of Closer's jungle, hovering mid lane to make sure that Gori can get this wave pushed in. And this is a Dragon Timer where they can look to at least set up more vision so that they can set up for the next time Stixxay gets the push on bot lane.
Yeah, Dragon has felt more of a bait this series. Every time Golden Guardians or 100 Thieves try and aim for it, the other side is also pretty recognizing it. And let's check out how this all started, because we were looking at top lane for the gank to see how Doublelift got chunked so low. Also, how did huhi get underneath turret?
Oh, a flash knockup immediately forcing both summoner spells from Doublelift, and he's just running away as much as he can. But Busio body blocking most of these shots from Stixxay.
Yeah, and he didn't have a way out with the chompers right behind him too, so yeah, it'll suck. Shaking his head on that one, but overall, that was a great response from Doublelift and Busio. Great hook and instant flash from Doublelift so he doesn't end up in range of Stixxay after the knockup.
That's right. Good for huhi not to be too shaken up over about it. Just a quick head shake and saying, okay, let's move on. Now Gori has the first move, looks for Doublelift, knows that there's no summoner spells available, and it lines up the hook onto Doublelift. He knows he's good and gone.
Oh!
The knockup from huhi interrupts him in mid-dark passage, but Doublelift, he's still alive briefly before Stixxay finds the last auto attack. But the fact that 100 Thieves traded 1-for-1 onto Gori is miraculous for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it was a 1-for-1, but just barely. Doublelift almost got out of that one. Another hook.
Another hook, but is that the hook they want to take? Bjergsen can just flash backwards, and Closer capitalizes! 100 Thieves on the board!
That was inadvisable. There are good hooks and there are bad ones. That one was a rough one, and so what turned out to just be straight 1-for-1, disastrous for Golden Guardians. Let's take a look at that one more time, because I can see K'Sante angling just so they can take the fight. That's 4 people from Golden Guardian side, with Stixxay coming in from the rear. And so, yeah, lines them up. Doublelift also getting knocked up halfway through the lantern. And so it looked great, but man, K'Sante dies early, so it was hard to get that pick. So it just turns into a 1-for-1. And if Golden Guardians back away from this entirely, then they can just lick their wounds. It's fine. But that last hook, when Busio, Bjergsen, and Closer were basically full HP and Stixxay was not committed to the fight, as Bjergsen had flash, just wasn't good. They were never going to get the burst down on Bjergsen, and so, yeah.
And you can see even on the more experienced members in a game 5, it always hits different when you know that there's no more games after this one. So every decision, every action and consequence that occurs in this game 5, it really does sting a little more.
Now, Dragon has been the focus. K'Sante has gotten mid-push, so he can always be there, just like he was there in the last fight. So on to Golden Guardians if they want to take that risk of another fight really panning out poorly. Closer's now pushing for Proud just to stop that. The hell is that going?
Not sure. Maybe it was to scout out the dragon in case they were on it. As it was only Stixxay pushing out on the bottom side of the map. Maybe huhi and River were trying to do it together, but they find out that the dragon has not even been started at all. They're waiting for the pick. So Closer's just hovering, making sure that Doublelift is still protected until both of those summoner spells come back from cooldown.
Not a lot that could happen in the top lane, though it's nice to check in. Once we do see items being locked in for Licorice, it will be even clearer. Got his Conqueror proc there, so that's nice to see, but I mean, he will be fine getting that wave, next wave pushed in. Basing it doesn't have TP, but it should be okay anyways.
I will say that 100 Thieves briefly ahead at right now, about 1,500 gold ahead. We saw what Licorice did in game 4 when he was given resources. This time around it's just an even laning phase, but when Gwen comes online with those 2 items, she can rip apart this backline from the side of 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
And it seems like that is just what Golden Guardians are waiting for at the moment. All their looks in the early game have not really necessarily worked out. Maybe there's something here on the closer. Gori's onto the backline. River looks for it, but he gets pulled too far backwards. Now Gori's in the backline as well. Closer gets traded. Gori's surviving. Tenacity arrives, though, with the unstoppable onslaught, and he pays it back forward for the team as they find 3 kills.
One thing GG did not expect, it was Tenacity making a visit from the top side of the map. Well done for him, and he's able to net now a 2.5k gold lead for 100 Thieves. A small price to pay, and Bjergsen's actually going to try for Licorice a little bit, but still here is intent to pick up the wave.
Ghost is popped at the most for Licorice, gets out alive. No chance for another cleanup from Bjergsen. But seeing 100 Thieves still rally in this early mid game. The game is not over yet, but the momentum is on their side for now, and it seems like they are going to have control for this next Rift Herald.
Every time Golden Guardians were looking to find a pick, 100 Thieves found a way out. The pick option was closer there, flashing over the wall, getting the lantern. We'll see how this one ended up panning out, but River wanted to start the fight, had Gori in his sights to see if he can get something. So as you can see, they were trying to pile on towards Wukong, flashes for the lantern so he gets out of the way again. And so even if they're able to get that pick, here comes Sion.
Tenacity steamrolls on through. Yes, he gives up the wave over to Licorice in isolation, but he's going to look for the payoff to be that his team still continues snowballing through this mid game as another pick lands onto River, and Golden Guardians fall further behind.
Hasn't been a great game for River now, 0-3. Every time he's looking for an objective with his squad, they've just been on the losing end now. And this game is starting to just blow up for 100 Thieves. This is going to be rough. And if you look about how they want to actually play out these fights, if it were to be a 5v5, they're the team that actually is a lot more comfortable in that setting. They have a strong front line and closer in Tenacity. And K'Sante, as great as he is for the draft and, you know, rotate for the early fights, the early fights have not been panning out, and he doesn't scale as well as Sion as a frontliner. So that's going to be the hard part for Golden Guardians. As the game goes on, they got to find more creative ways, and so the onus is actually just on Blitzcrank.
Yeah.
If you can find a good pick, then great. They can start chipping at the lead that 100 Thieves have, but it's going to be a little hard.
Because all the while, Golden Guardians, as we noted before, you're now kind of just waiting for Licorice to come online, since he's the one that hasn't been touched at all and he's slightly most accelerated. He looks for the all-in onto Bjergsen, and he buys enough time so that River can come in and clean up the kill. One shutdown goes over to Golden Guardian.
There it is. I would like the kill to have gone over to Licorice, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter to me. At least they're able to find something on the map. So now end up basing. Got Rift Herald still in play. I wonder where they're still going to use that. Wherever they can use it is positive. So I see them pivoting towards bot lane. That could have been nice for them. I don't think they're in a strong position, so they may not ever find another opening to place Rift Herald and give that gold to someone else other than River.
And so far, you already see the goal difference. I mean, Licorice slightly ahead of Tenacity, but most of the gold has really been actually for Bjergsen, who was able to clean up a lot of the kills in where Golden Guardians just found themselves overextending. You know, great that they got the shutdown, but Bjergsen's still in a very strong point of this game. He's someone that, when we already talked about, he hasn't gotten a chance to really lock this Taliyah down in the series. And if you roam with him and Closer, who is already on that first item with Divine Thunder, this is a way to continue the mid-game snowball rolling and brute force your way past the point where Golden Guardians cannot even wait for Licorice to come online.
Yeah, and I mean, Taliyah has just been such a demon so far in playoffs. You saw what Vikla was able to do it to, actually to 100 Thieves. And he was pivotal to how they end up flanking the backline, and in this case, so I'm a little bit afraid for Stixxay. The protection just isn't there. If you're thinking of like, okay, they have Maokai ulti, which hasn't been really that reliable, then Taliyah ult, Wukong ult, there's a lot of ways to find access towards Stixxay, so let's see if he can do it. He has a shield bow ready, so there's a little bit of shield that's going to be there for him, but still going to be harder.
Yeah, and you can't cleanse knockups, so if Wukong finds you with the Cyclone, and then it's immediate timing from Bjergsen with the knockup from Seismic Shove, there's nothing you can do. You can just get blown up 100-0. Golden Guardian's gonna lay down this Rift Herald, get a crash into the mid turret. They don't take it out entirely, but at least it's some damage that they can work on later. 2.5 minutes until the next dragon.
Yeah, and a lot has happened since the Rift Herald was picked up. So the fact that it was placed past 14 minutes, so they're not able to get plates for that one, kind of sucks, but that's just the state of the game right now. A lot of pressure right now towards Stixxay, who's able to get the bot lane turret, and is now actually leaning on the side of where all Golden Guardians are. So if a fight is going to happen, he's going to get the first touch on it. Dragon's just the biggest focus right now.
Yeah.
100 Thieves is looking strong, and so anytime they can actually look for an early stacking on Drakes, the better.
Just finding ways to play off minion waves, get it shoved in, move in as a group, establish vision control, continue pushing that vision line further and further, encroaching onto the comfortability of where Golden Guardians can actually go in their own jungle. And that prevents them from being able to get into good angles for the contest. Because when we still think about this draft from Golden Guardians, it's a little bit of what they want to achieve in game 1 that wasn't successful. It's the idea that you're pincering Doublelift and Bjergsen from multiple sides, looking for multiple flank angles. If you're just trying to go in through the front door, through this Sion and Wukong, I mean, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, and hopefully they have enough time that they can play through sides a little bit more. Because I don't want them to just jump into a fight, though. You know, if second dragon goes over to 100 Thieves, they're not going to have much of a chance.
Yeah.
But if they can have Licorice just isolated with Tenacity, or if Tenacity rotates early to secure a fight, just get more gold on him. Because he's going to be your team fight demon. The other great Gwen that we have in this league is Dokla, so like we can see what a game looks like when you continue to stack resources on her. She can take over team fights after she gets her 3-piece items. So that's what I'm looking for. Just have to see how this next Drake fight ends up panning out.
Licorice right now setting up the bot wave for success, pushing in through the side, so he gets a chance to look for a flank through the bottom of the jungle if they want to go for it. But it looks like he's going to be actually joining through the river and just pinching from here, where 100 Thieves have moved into the river, looking for control. Multiple control wards littered throughout these bushes in the river, just pushing Golden Guardians away as the death sentence lands. Closure goes in with a cyclone. They just blow up river, and no jungler means no chance for a 50-50 smite.
Didn't even need the Jinx rocket to secure the kill. River just goes down like that, 1-4. It just hasn't worked out for him. We saw the attempted hook from huhi onto a target 100 Thieves. If that happened, then great. Like, we're just waiting for a hook to land to see if Golden Guardians come out good for Drake. That one was just rough. They had an idea that River was there, and so now we're fighting for third Drake. And that point that I made about Licorice, he's gonna have to be a part of those fights. That sole point going there to 100 Thieves.
Yeah, if you have Infernal Soul, I think this game is almost damn near unlosable at that point. I mean, I'm willing to stake a lot in that, but Golden Guardians now have to find ways to bounce back down 2 dragons, as already the matchup for Licorice starting to turn out even worse for Tenacity as he's just snipping through this tank.
Something to take note of is, even though I've been talking up the scaling element on side lanes for Gwen, you always have the Taliyah that can be there and turn that fight. So even if you think you're solo in lane with Tenacity, that may not be the case if Bjergsen is lying in wait. We've seen many times in which comps like, hey, Galio, Taliyah in this example, or Twisted Fate can really stop a split pusher's momentum. This could be the same case here. So it's good that Licorice is not pushing an advantage too much. That being said, Golden Guardians are still, again, on defense here.
They know from how the series played out that anytime that Licorice wants to extend his advantage, he has to be always cautious about where 100 Thieves members are in. Because even if they're the ones ahead and not looking for desperate picks, they'll still have the opportunity to look for those picks because of the mobility that Bjergsen has on this Taliyah champion. So Licorice playing with a lot more caution, a lot more reserve, while still maintaining this lead is going to be key for Golden Guardians to have a chance in coming back in this game.
Yeah, and I know Jat mentioned before this game about the last time Doublelift getting kicked out of playoffs, and it took 2016. It's a long time, right? The most recent memory that's in mind is huhi. Nailing that part. The fact that last time huhi went up against Doublelift and Bjergsen, it was not a good experience when he was wearing the gold and black colors. So wants to be able to prove a point. Chime mentioned in the last cast about wanting to beat your old organization.
Yes.
That passion is definitely there for huhi. He wants to make a point. He's in game 5. This is the moment to do it. This is the moment you remember. So there's a lot going against them. It's not that big of a lead for 100 Thieves now, but the next Drake coming up, you have to start to concoct a strategy because scaling element's going to be hard for you.
And huhi has been so great throughout the regular season of making plans, of syncing up with River and Stixxay to get his AD carry ahead, to get the rest of the map ahead. A lot of their early flips and gambles did not pay off well for them, so now they're paying the consequences. They don't get to be the ones controlling the pace of the game. They don't get to be the ones controlling momentum and tempo. They have to play second fiddle to 100 Thieves and find windows where 100 Thieves are sleeping. And so far, 100 Thieves have been very, very active.
Yeah, their eyes right now are towards the top lane. As you can see, they're trying to provide some help towards Bjergsen, lay down some vision. On the other side, Doublelift, who has 236 CS, 20 minutes into the game. Wild, by the way. Just finished off the Raptors camp, so you know where he's at mentally. Man's just farming up a storm, knowing the next fight could be the last this game.
For Licorice, he's hits the 2-item spike. He's got a solid 1,000 gold up on Tenacity, where Tenacity is still trying to pick and buy components to make himself as tanky as possible, but he's also on 2 items with the Sunfire. He's going to be as tanky as he can get for this upcoming dragon fight. This is the 3rd dragon. It's not Soul, but if 100 Thieves do nab it, it does put them on Soul Point and forces Golden Guardians to contest them at that last dragon.
Taking a look at the items being completed here. You already see the Seraphs, extra bit of defense, i.e. bot. Just one shot by Doublelift. Tenacity, on the other hand, going for Sunfire. So overall, they are just spiked out of their minds. On the meantime, Licorice completed his Cosmic, so that's nice. But I just feel too confident right now about how strong 100 Thieves is in a front to back. I think you have to pull Licorice just to have some threat on the back line. The damage that's there from Doublelift, he has both sums, so an extra bit of safetiness. The Lantern's going to also help him out there. And the extra shield from Seraphs is going to also protect Bjergsen with the sums available. So it's just really strong. If 100 Thieves can get in position, they can get eyes on Licorice too. They do. The ward catches him out, so they know where he's at. Gonna be a good call, a good fight. They're actually chasing him down.
Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves know if there's a flank in progress, always collapse on the weakest side of the flank. Licorice has a ghost, but he gets interrupted by the Cyclone and gets cut off, and he's forced out of the fight. He might even just go down. The Mega Death Rocket doesn't land, but the closer has one last bonk to take him out, and this is a number advantage now in favor of 100 Thieves.
That's your biggest piece in the fight now. Gone if you're Golden Guardians, but you still have to fight for this. That's their Drake that we've been hammering in. Now, River is probably just looking for a steal. Has flash for this, but I guess no, it's just gone.
Golden Guardians just don't feel confident. They feel that if they take that fight or even look for a steal, that it would be even more damage. If River goes down, that opens up 100 Thieves to take a Baron for free on the back.
Yeah, he was thinking about that. Don't want to lose Baron, so the game is slipping away from them bit by bit. And now Soul is going to be the game plan for 100 Thieves. Golden Guardians need to find anything. Thankfully, Blitzcrank is a nice way to come back into this game.
If there's anything that could happen,
yeah,
you could be in the right place at the right time as Blitzcrank and find a hook on a Fed carry with a shutdown bounty. I'm looking at Doublelift, looking at Closer. I would not want to pull Tenacity because he's a giant tank. It would be too tanky to take down, but you know what? Also, we do need to call out Tenacity about that. But, you know, we'll save that for later. We'll save that for later.
Yeah, I'm trying to protect that hair. Though it'd be hilarious to see him bald. I'm just putting that out there. That is just funny. The pick that I would see is, of course, on Thresh, or even just finding sums. I think what you just want to go for, any small picks where you can just force a flash from Doublelift or Bjergsen to make the next fight even harder.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the old game plan. Whenever you see a Jarvan getting ulti, knowing that his cooldown is lower and waiting for the next fight so then you can do it again. It's always a good idea. But right now, Golden Guardians, rightfully so, don't want to be in a position where they're picking something and then a greater fight is coming in. Like Closer, they don't have eyes on him. Can always find a fight, a flank that is. And a thing that both teams have been doing is that if, hey, Busio is a good example. If he's pushing up to clear a ward, a good amount of members from 100 Thieves are there.
Yeah.
So you think you have a pick is not the case.
And you can see that River and huhi always have to pull Stixxay to move with them.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that they can lay vision control down. Because even though huhi and River are on quote-unquote tank champions, they're behind. And they don't really necessarily have item components that make them all that tanky. So if they get caught out, that's done. That's Baron, or at least a Baron attempt from the side of 100 Thieves. So they always have to pull power, which then prevents Stixxay as much time as he wants to just dedicate himself to farming waves. Just giving just small encroachments of power and even more resources advantage over the side of 100 Thieves who don't have to take the same precautions.
Yeah. One thing to point out, I like the magic penetration that's actually being built up by Bjergsen. So
yeah.
Going towards a voice staff makes sense when you're dealing with both the Cassante and the Maokai. I think it's a good call overall since those are the members that you're probably hitting the most. So as they're farming just to hit their core items, that would be the one to call out.
Rest of Golden Guardians concede this wave for now. Stixxay will clean it up, but now 100 Thieves get to have first move into this Baron pit. Thankfully for Golden Guardians, they got vision thanks to the crab. The 100 Thieves can't necessarily start it up with just by sneaking it, but at this rate, it's just been a handshake. Licorice has been picking away at this tower, but now there's a pick opportunity on the bottom side of the map. Raz pointed it out. Taliyah ulti from Bjergsen, but Licorice just skips over the wall. Tenacity's not able to find the ulti in time.
Yeah. It's one of those things you kind of have to be aware of, and good enough from Licorice. He was playing on the edge, trying to get the pick on towards the turret, and Bjergsen was just there. So overall, at least he didn't die, because that would have been a Baron fight that you are just not ready for if you're Golden Guardians. But look at all the vision right now around the Baron buff. This could just be the call for Golden Guardians to try and fight for it, or create a pick around it. Right now, if you're 100 Thieves side, you're just thinking about your blue trinkets. Just placing them down just to see how much time you actually have around Baron.
They're actually just going to take this chance. They know that there's still a minute left before the other dragon spawns, and 100 Thieves might not respond in time. They throw down the blue scry orb, so they know that Baron is being started, but Golden Guardians might just actually want to force this fight. Or are they going to burn it down all the way? They still don't have vision. Closure doesn't see it quite yet. He throws down a ward, and they briefly see that it's 4,000 HP. Licorice, where is Licorice? He's looping around for the left side of the flank, and now 100 Thieves have to loop all on the right side to protect themselves from this flank. Closure's in the pit, 1900! It's secured by River! Now what does happen with this fight? Tenacity frontlining for the rest of 100 Thieves, but they have to retreat. The Baron has been secured by Golden Guardians, and 100 Thieves don't want to drop any members because they know that their soul point is up in 20 seconds.
And Golden Guardians get out cleanly. That was something we had to point out to see if 100 Thieves could get a steal or a fight in their favor. Right now, Busio is way too low to support anything here, so just trying to clear out the wave. Dragon is up, and now Golden Guardians have to fight for it.
With the Baron buff on their side, this is going to be the strongest that they can put themselves in a position while 100 Thieves have soul point advantage. 6,000 HP. Dragon's being burned down. River trying to get in, but he's getting kept out. W onto the back line. It is secured by Doublelift. Infernal Soul has been claimed by 100 Thieves, but Licorice finds the tank, and they find Busio. Doublelift is also taken off the field. Golden Guardians will clean up a majority of the 100 Thieves.
They just drive straight on a Doublelift and Busio, so even though Soul is picked up by 100 Thieves, it's not enough. Death timers are long, 30 seconds on both Doublelift and Tenacity. Let's see how much Golden Guardians can get down. But that was a crucial moment in this series.
The payoff for Licorice investment. Split pushing on this Gwen the entire game. He has been up an item on Tenacity for a majority of this game. He comes in, he pays dividends. Him, Gori, and River all committing into the pit of that dragon fight. They find Doublelift, they find a majority of 100 Thieves, and yes, they lose on Soul, but now they have put themselves back in the driver's seat of this game.
3.5k gold off just that. Now it's 100 Thieves saying we need to get something for this. A nice Weaver's Wall from Bjergsen, but I'm interested to see how did Doublelift go down. But he's just stuck in the backside of the pit, still has flash. Slowed by the Everfrost just a bit. Gori is coming in at an angle, is able to take down Thresh and all straight in. So it was a combination of both Gori and Licorice just straight diving him with no support.
And this is the first time in the series where Golden Guardians, when they needed to sync up their backline threats, look for the assassination of threat overload, you get that. A massive swing in momentum, in game pace. And this is off the back where Golden Guardians realized a lot of the early gambles and flips that they took did not work out well, but huhi gets caught out as 100 Thieves don't get a chance to defend the tower from falling, but they got 1 kill while Licorice is making work in the base.
Yeah, he's already on the inhib.
Stixxay!
Oh my god!
Stixxay trades one, he flashes back, he's still alive! Closure tries to look for the punish, but Closures get taken out! Golden Guardians now on the front, Doublelift is gone, Bjergsen is the only damage carry left alive! It's just Tenacity and Busio, no way, Golden Guardians! Have they done it? Stixxay has been taken out as well, but Licorice and Gori are still alive! They can push to the mid lane! This just might be it! Golden Guardians! Can they close out this game?
They've done it! That was a huge gambit! Seeing Stixxay just go straight forward and also Licorice coming in with a flank, that was a big play. Doublelift coming up in 15 seconds, they're just gonna go for it.
Couple more auto attacks on the turrets. Doublelift is coming up in 8 seconds. Busio 9, 8 seconds.
Not
This
enough
might be
time.
it. Golden Guardians don't let history repeat itself. They overcome themselves. They let everything come their way as Golden Guardians upset 100 Thieves and advance to the playoffs.
Look at the elation of the players. For a lot of them, a long time coming for success, taking down 100 Thieves, winning that first series. It's been a long time for Golden Guardians to win that series in the playoffs. It started off pretty rough, but man, they stuck with it. That Baron play worked out wonders, and now they get to take a bow in front of their fans.
Licorice, the biggest smile of them all. In the last 2 pivotal games of this series, given a carry champion, not a tank champion, and he shows up big to take out the backline of 100 Thieves, the core and the heart that has been driving the back half of what was a great turnaround for 100 Thieves regular split. But now their playoffs run comes to an end as Golden Guardians, the full coaching staff, and Nero, the GM as well, the entire administration from Golden Guardians comes out as they are vindicated for their faith and trust in this team.
Remember the start of the split, those FU, FU content? We had those hats ready. But the fact that they were able to go into the playoffs, losing quite a few games in the back half of the split, they have a lot of grit on them to stick through it and come out on the other side of it. That was an amazing series to see from Golden Guardians. And you look at the side of 100 Thieves, they talk about the rocket, don't stop. It blew up.
Well, Golden Guardians were a giant meteor that plummeted them out of the sky.
And so you look at the side of 100 Thieves, just give them a little bit of time. You know, they brought on new players, Tenacity, Busio. It was a rough patch of the split. And then they had that run. A lot of the fans were there for 100 Thieves. They got a lot of new fans, too, for the players. So I do want to give a big shout out for them to get to this point, but obviously their playoffs running short, and now you get to see Golden Guardians fly going into the next one. So
yeah,
they're making that run. So we'll see how far Golden Guardians can go.
Yeah, I mean, for 100 Thieves members, I'm sure we'll see them return in summer with a lot to prove. But for Golden Guardians, this was their day, and my goodness, we saw games 1 and 3 from 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
It seemed so decisive that Golden Guardians were not going to bounce back. We saw how this early game panned out as well, where River and huhi were looking for flip after flip, and it didn't work out. But then these last couple fights, it all paid off.
That was insane from Stixxay. He backs away from the Thresh hook, move forward, seeing Doublelift that was that much forward, blasts him with his Zeri ultimate, and then assassinates him. That was the most important part of that fight. That was insane. And we talk about resurgence in career. That one was a big moment that he will be looking back on. You see the coaching staff, that was the GM in Arrow, seeing the winning moment of that series.
It's just so happy and so elated because they knew how tough of an opponent 100 Thieves were going to be, especially off the back of that regular split run. But for Golden Guardians to bounce back after what seems like a slump in the past 2 weeks, huge for this team, and now huge looking forward in the playoffs because now they have multi-facets to play through. But here we are. We know that Emily is standing by with Licorice for a Verizon post-game interview. We're going to check them out.
As you can hear the crowd there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Taking them to all 5 games, ending up with the win. As we were rewatching that, the first thing I wanted to comment out is you were like, oh, that's what's happening. Because that's essentially the life of a top laner, right? Like you're just like, something else happens on the map. You're just like chipping away in a side lane.
Yeah.
What were your comms going through the end? Because obviously you guys won the fight topside and then kind of sprinted to the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying there was no one mid, or I didn't see anyone mid, so I was taking the tower, and then Sion ulted, so I was just like, can we back? And then Jay died, and I assumed it was really bad, and then I just saw that Doublelift died, and I was like, oh, that's really good. So then I like moved my camera over, and I was like, oh, I can go, and then we just killed them all and won the game.
Nice. One thing that stood out to me in this game, but in a few of your other games, was a little bit more of attention to detail in side lanes, right? So you guys typically tended to have side lane pressure, even when 100 Thieves had a gold lead earlier in. So as you're approaching this 100 Thieves team, was that something you identified that you could pick them apart on because they are a 5v5 team, or was that just happened to be what ended up happening in this game?
I think it's a little bit of both. Okay. I mean, they definitely play the lane swap meta, like more than any team I've ever seen. So we were kind of preparing for that coming in, and just having like strong scaling side lane picks is going to be really good against that.
Okay. Is it also something you identified? Because obviously we've seen the K'Sante mid over in LCK. We've seen it here from C9 a few times. This was also a draft you figured you could go up against 100 Thieves with because it would give you better side lane pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think K'Sante is just like its strong champion. Mm-hmm. Like when you get to items, you can one-shot the carry, and that's kind of OP when you're a tank. And then a flex pick as well just makes it really good. So yeah.
All right, and then last question. Obviously, you guys had a really rough ending to the split in the final week. How did you recover and prepare for the series?
I mean, it's always the same thing. It's like you go into scrims, you work on your mistakes, and like you just try to improve. But I will say, I was talking to my GM, and he was saying that every team that won 7 games in a row just started like a huge losing streak after. Like it happened to FlyQuest, and then it happened to us. And then 100 Thieves came into playoffs with 7 wins. So he was feeling really good about that.
Awesome. Okay. All right. The secret, don't win 7 games in a row, apparently. And you circumvented that now, right? Because you guys flip-flopped until you actually also managed to get the win on red side, which was super important because the blue side Wukong kind of took over the entire series.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I know some of your teammates are back over with the loungers, so they will take it away now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I have a hat, I moved it. We made these for you, actually. If you remember your preseason video that told all the fans that doubted you to say F you, we didn't believe in you at first, but today, we both predicted Golden Guardians to win. Oh, really? That's why we're still here. We kicked everyone else off.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
have the hat.
Do you want? We've been trying to give you guys these actually for a couple weeks. As you heard Emily say, we tried to give them to you guys in your final week, and then you went 0-3, and I was like, no, it's
yeah, were we ever going to have a moment?
How are you guys feeling after that series? It was crazy 5 games.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, everyone was kind of nervous, especially because we didn't have the great ending of the split. But after game 1, I think everyone kind of picked it up. So we performed after that.
That's really cool. How was it going up against Doublelift and Bjergsen again? You guys have, funnily enough, some interesting history.
So did you even know, we realized a stat towards the end of the series, the last time Doublelift was in playoffs and didn't win the title was 2016 spring, when you two were on CLG and knocked him out.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of weird because like they've been through so many of those series. It's like our coaches were telling us like, oh, if it goes to game 5, you guys got this. Like they're gonna be super scared. And I'm just thinking, haven't they played like so many best of 5s? You're like, I'm pretty sure like they're also very capable in these situations. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I'm still like kind of shaking from like the adrenaline and stuff. But yeah, it was a crazy series.
For Gori, you were the first team All-Pro mid laner for LCS. Were you surprised, or did you think that you were gonna get it?
I think. 그러니까 왜 받았냐 어떻게 생각해?
아니 뭐 놀랐어? 받아가지고? 아니면 너가 받을 줄 알았어?
Yeah, just surprised because second and third mid laner, Bigla and MNS play well. I think better than me.
No, don't say that.
but too many people did both me or first pro. So very thank you, and I think just lucky.
Just lucky.
Good, lucky. We'll see. We're gonna pull up some highlights from the series to just kind of. It might be Game 5. It might be the whole series to just talk through them. But feel free to continue answering any and all questions. This is Game 5. Like honestly, when we were watching this, we noticed you were keeping the gold really close. It felt like you were side laning really well. But it was like 3 kills to 10. How was your confidence actually going through this game?
I mean, even though it was 3 kills to 10, like the way how they're playing is pretty one-dimensional. Like they will just kind of funnel gold on the AD carry and their carries and pretty much only fight around like the objectives. So even though we were behind, we kind of knew that like as long as we keep up the core item on the carries, we will always have a chance of winning.
So this is the dragon where they got sold, but it's right after you guys got Baron. I'm actually really curious what the decision making was around that Baron, because it felt a little bit like you were just flipping it and going for it.
That kind of comes with like the whole best of 5 series, because the first 2 games when we pulled Baron, what they did was they actually just didn't walk up, so they didn't give us any like engage range.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew that if we just flip the Baron, they're gonna panic.
What? Tell me what you saw here, Stixxay, because this was a crazy flash in.
Yeah, I mean, we knew Jinx had no flash from the previous fight, and I just saw the lantern on the ground. And my team, we got engaged on top, and huhi died. And Licorice was calling, hey, guys, I'm getting mid for free. But when I saw this happening and we were like hiding it really well, I was like, I'm just gonna kill this guy.
You just flashed in 1v5.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I guess like the ult from Wukong was down, so you just like...
Yeah, they used everything, right? So, I mean, I had a pretty good angle to go in there.
Yeah, that was insane. Something else that was really cool that you were talking about just before the cameras came to us was also like the adaptations from the series. How Licorice started playing more and more carries. Your entire season, it was like, Licorice is alone topside, Jack Show Renekton. That's how you started this series again. And then you were talking about some stuff that you guys noticed just playing about.
Yeah, I mean, this team, obviously, they're picking a lot of like tanks top, like frontline Sion and stuff like that. So we kind of know their strat. Like it's just to funnel their Jinx and get that guy ahead and then team fight like that. And it's actually pretty hard. Like the first game they had Zillion, and it was pretty hard to kill that guy. But yeah, I just like Licorice was asking after the games, guys, like, is their jungler even coming top at all? And we're like, no, I don't think so. And because our coaches are watching with all the vision, right? So they can see that the jungle's not even going top. So he's like, I'm just gonna play super aggressive, and yeah, just counterpick the Sion with Gwen, and it went pretty well for us.
That's really cool. One quickly before we get to player of the series, I did want to ask Gori, in your first like North American playoff series, how you felt playing up against Bjergsen, or how you feel the experience was.
그러니까 북미에서 첫 번째 플레이오프 경기를 했는데 더블리프트 선수랑 비역슨 선수랑 한 소감?
I think Bjergsen on stage really played well. I think in scrim different. I think it's not mean he on scrim play bad. It's not. Yeah. Just he played well today. I think so. Because when I before start one game, I'm really nervous because Bjergsen on stage play really well. So we today did win. So really happy now.
Nice.
Yeah, congratulations once again. Player of the series is, you can see it in the prompter, Licorice. This was really close. I think for most of the series we were thinking maybe Stixxay, but part of the ability to translate to playing carries after playing mostly just weak side tanks the whole split did influence our votes a little bit.
Who would you have given it to? You can say yourself, Stixxay.
No, I think Licorice. I think he played really well this series. I mean, you could see in our last game, like, I mean, he pretty much solo carried the game. Like, we were in a really bad spot, but it was only playable because of his situation and him, you know, not getting caught inside and stuff like that, and making sure his lead was kept up. So he played really well.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see him go back to his old identity, back from like the C9 days of this really aggressive pushing top laner, getting all that stuff. Very, very cool to see. This does mean that you guys are moving on in playoffs, going to be playing next weekend against the winner of tomorrow's series. How are you guys feeling potentially C9, CLG? How are you overall feeling about it?
The EG-CLG?
EG-CLG.
Oh my god, yeah,
EG-CLG. You're going to play
EG-CLG.
tomorrow, and then you're going to play them next week to see who gets to go to Raleigh.
It's hard to say. I think, like, I was pretty surprised CLG. I mean, we were scrimming, so we didn't watch too much, but I was pretty surprised CLG was kind of going toe-to-toe with C9. But also, we scrim a lot versus EG, so we have a pretty good read of how they play and, you know, how we match up versus them. Really hard to know who we're going to be playing against, but I mean, we're going to be able to do well versus both of them, I think.
Yeah, I also just heard that Licorice has made a tweet that I need to reference with you. It's a story of some kind. We need to get this on the screen real quick so we can see what it is. It is Not ready, apparently. And I don't have my phone. I can't check Twitter.
All right, well, oh, there it is.
It's coming.
Oh,
Okay, I saw it
We're
for like
getting
half a
trolled by-
second.
Yeah, you know the whole story, right? Like,
Yeah,
you just
I know that one.
absorb the situation.
Yeah.
You realize that Thresh had no lantern,
Yeah.
Doublelift had no flash, and it's over.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
while we wait for them to pull up that tweet, I did, and maybe this is a little bit of a reach because one is in the finals and one is like this game, but we watched a feature of you after game one where you talked a lot about the team fight you won back in 2016 against Doublelift on Tristana, and you were like just reacting off of instinct and you weren't really thinking about it. Was that the same energy you had today? Because like, it's a very instinctual play. No one's calling like, Stixxay, maybe can you find an angle on Doublelift when we're all running mid lane?
Yeah, it was just pure instinct. Like my team was even calling to back up there, you know. But I just saw the angle and I went for it. I was thinking about that as I walked off the stage, like, you know, shaking from adrenaline. I'm just thinking, wow, I just trusted myself there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I was shaking because I made that like kind of, it was pretty risky, you know. But yeah, it was just pure instinct.
Yeah. Oh, you go for it.
I had a different question.
I was just gonna ask, like, seeing him making plays like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was dead there. And then I saw like the whole situation that Gwen was pushing mid. And then I was the one who was like telling Trevor, back up, back up. And then I just saw him going in. And then I just started clapping like on stage because I knew he won the situation for us. And yeah, I mean, like, I think for him, like, he just needs those kind of confidence.
Yeah.
And then he's like top tier AD carry.
Because it's really easy to not go in there because you know if it goes poorly, it's like, that's flame for months. That's a lot of bad things, but you pulled it off, so it's amazing.
I'll go for it.
We do have the tweet. We do have the tweet, I've been told. So we're pulling it up right now. I'm telling you, oh, come on.
Red Bull and adult diapers.
This is what we waited for.
Guys, this is like a 6-year-old pasta. This is the stalest pasta in the world, producers.
Wow.
Get this off my screen. I have a real question.
Why is my top laner tweeting during the game? That's what I want to know.
I think he did that as soon as.
He did this post game while we're doing it.
Huhi, I had a question actually because you went up against Closer, ex-teammate. You guys had made the previous 3 straight finals. How did it feel going up against him? Like, did it feel good because, you know, he's the one that's still on 100 Thieves and you took down your old team? Or was it just like business? How did it feel?
I mean, I was keep meeting him in the bathroom, you know, like during
Between games?
Yeah, in between games. I mean, I don't know, like, I think 100 Thieves kind of has like a special moment for me because we've been in a same team for such a long time and made a pretty good success there. So whenever I saw him, like, we're just kind of hugging each other, you know, like even after the game, like he told me congrats. And yeah, I just think he played really well and he was a real threat because we had to ban like Licorice Viego, like kind of perma versus him. So yeah, I think he's playing really well and I'm happy for him.
All right, well, congratulations once again. Let's pull up the updated playoff bracket to see how everything is standing. C9 FlyQuest can be playing on Thursday. You all are playing Friday, March 31st against the winner of the match tomorrow between COG and EG. Do you have prediction for the game?
EG?
Gori?
뽑고 싶은 사람.
아니, 누가 이길 것 같아? CLG랑 EG.
CLG?
CLG, all right, there we go.
I think EG is going to win.
Okay, I have no idea how to read EG because they've been so spooky up and down. Anyway, that's the bracket. We start the exact same time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes, sir.
EG COG. Congratulations once again. We'll see you again Friday. And that is going to be doing it for us. Revenge is joining the broadcast tomorrow. COG versus EG, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. See you then. You can keep the hats.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Oh, all right. I'll put it back on, sorry.
What did you say, Peter?
When you cancel your ulti to press Q, your clone also stops ulting, right?
Peter, like, you guys are asking too much detailed questions, man.
Okay, my bad. John's not a nerd.
I just play the game, press some buttons, and destroy the Nexus.
Okay. Respect, my bad.
He might have gone a little too early. Gori looks for perfect execution. They're going to take out the front line first, but Doublelift is safe in this pocket, and Stixxay's taken out, and the majority of the damage is gone. And look at that double bomb stuff from Bjergsen, setting up Doublelift to carry. And for the rest of 100 Thieves, they are rolling through the Golden Guardians in their own damn home. They're crashing the kitchen. They're taking out everything. 100 Thieves will take first the game in this series.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yeah, heading front. Heading front. Nice.
Haha!
Yeah. Golden Guardians, do they still want to take this flip or do they want to just engage over the wall? And they go over the wall. Cyclone into tidal wave, locks them all up. Gori on the right side of the flank. 100 Thieves are destroyed by the Golden Guardians.
Look for hook still. Look for hook.
Look. Nice. One shot him.
Blocking.
Look. Okay. He has flash. Okay. Maybe he's dead. He's just dead.
But now they're trapped in this river. Do they want to go for a double lift? Just skates right into the face of multiple members, but because they're split, 100 Thieves can pick them off one by one. Doublelift comes skating over the wall, finds the backline, face to face with Licorice and Gori. Gori gets out of line thanks to Dark Passage, but Stixxay's left alone. Doublelift now on the chase, flashing forward, finds huhi, takes him out for a double, and that just might be it to close out the game.
Hit me front. We got by. Gragas.
I'm coming by. Zeri.
Zeri flash.
Play Zeri. I got Zeri. Look Zeri.
Yeah.
Zeri. The flash.
Ragnarok is now popped. The closer is left all alone. They have double bombs just waiting for his revival, but Licorice now is in the back line. This is what happens when you give him the resources. Licorice can be the key to help you clutch out a fight.
We win.
W on Zeri.
Nice.
River trying to get in, but he's getting kept out. W onto the back line. It is secured by Doublelift. Infernal Soul has been claimed by 100 Thieves, but Licorice finds the tank, and they find Busio. Doublelift is also taken off the field. Golden Guardians.
I'm coming. We can win. Coming. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Taliyah. We end.
I'm dead.
Couple more auto attacks on the turrets. Doublelift is coming up in 8 seconds. Busio 8 seconds. This might be it. Golden Guardians don't